We have the first of a few short presentations for you all here. You have the pleasure of taking in over the next couple of days. And we kick things off with a great partner of ours, not only at our events, but also frequent sponsors and supporters of our digital publications. You may have seen them as you've perused our stuff. Simpli.fi. Today we have Casey Squier. Casey's the Senior Director of Sales over at Simpli.fi. And he's here to discuss the QSR media dispersion pre, mid, and post-pandemic by the numbers. So this should be a fun look at of ad spend across mobile, display, video, and CTV. Nice recap for the past 12 months, I'm guessing. Casey, let me just see if you're there. Are you around?
I'm here, John.
All right, fantastic. Hi. Hey, it's great to see you, and thanks for joining us here today. Very much looking forward to what you have for us. Yeah, great. Everything looks good.
All right. Well, thank you very much, John, for having me. My name's Casey Squier. I run the Southwest region for Simpli.fi. And today we're going to talk specifically about the QSR space, the media dispersion and what it looks like post-COVID. Just so everybody understands who Simpli.fi is, if you aren't familiar with us, we are a fast-growing omni-channel platform, primarily growing through programmatic ad spend. CTV being a massive growth engine. What was geofencing in the QSR space 4 or 5 years ago, in that explosion in ad growth is now moved to the connected television space. And we're seeing that on our platform and specifically in the QSR space, which I'm going to review today. What we're going to look at is a lot of different campaigns on our platform. Over the last year and a half, we're going to take a look at the data from 38,800 campaigns, which is comprised of about 4,100 different advertisers. So campaigns can be anywhere from specific locations. So, maybe we're running a Burger King or a Subway and they have 5 campaigns, and that represents 5 different locations of that Subway or Burger King. Advertisers, those are the brands, right? We have national and we have local brands. We have mom and pop stores that are reflected in these numbers, everywhere from pizza, like we shared with Domino's, to Mexican food, to sandwich chains. So a lot of great information to share with you all on what's happening. Why we have so many advertisers on our platform is really due to tracking, attribution. We brought that up earlier. Across programmatic, we have the luxury of being able to track folks online, which is more important in the space today with online ordering. We can even track them down to their order and cart value. We can do that across all screens, including the connected television, which is a big reason why we saw the growth. But we're also able to take that connected TV or your cell phone and track them, the foot traffic, right into your local location, which is, really one of the big drivers of the budget for a long period of time until now. On our platform, the QSR vertical makes up anywhere from 7 to 16% of our monthly spend. So we are looking at a lot of different brands, advertisers, verticals, but I wanted to dig specifically into this large cross section, which is a pretty good makeup of what we see, and I think what a lot of you will or have been seeing in the space for your media budget. Really, the dispersion is the idea that your media mix is changing. What we used to do, programmatic advertising, we talked to a lot of QSRs, mom and pop shops, and the number one thing they would ask for is, hey, we want to geofence competitors, maybe lay a geofence over the same zip codes that we're doing direct mail in. And then we're going to deliver an ad, likely on their cell phone, desktop, some sort of display ad. And then we're going to track the foot traffic. And what we want to know is, if we deliver an ad to them, are they more likely to walk into our location, get a burger and soda, than if we didn't deliver an ad to them? And that's what we did for years and years. And, we've had amazing success through that process. But then, as we all know, COVID happened, and the industry that was dedicated to foot traffic had to shift. Though we did have a slight spike in August, we saw that second surge come on. And even though now we're looking at the end of this pandemic, there's a lot of changes that are happening that folks need to think about. Even though we are out and about and everybody's trying to frequent their favorite restaurant again. One of the biggest shifts that we're seeing and continuing to see is that your state, your county, your city, they've all responded differently. And though in the very beginning in April, whether you were in California, Texas, or Florida, you saw a huge drop. And though those spikes go up and down, as you see the long-term trend line in states like New York and California, they aren't necessarily returning to usual right away. And they are much more comfortable with online transactions and making sure they get there, where in Texas and in Florida, life's back to normal, as you would say, and we're seeing massive foot traffics return to pre-pandemic levels. And why that is that the media mix of our QSR budgets looked something like this before the pandemic. You had about 80% of your budget going into display. And a lot of you probably seen this before, and this is probably what your media budget looked like. You had roughly 16% in video. You had, that's basically saying, a lot of folks had video assets, but not everybody. And then you were dabbling in connected TV. What is this connected TV? Hey, we should probably throw some budget over there. That's what it looked like before the pandemic. What it looked like during the pandemic, CTV came along like the biggest thing we'd seen since geofencing, actually greater growth. And that was everybody took those video assets, pushed them over to connected TV. Everybody who didn't have video assets, they were working to figure out what it was, whether that video was a social post that they were redoing, or whether it was something they were cutting new, or it was a Zoom video. They needed to do something because they wanted to hit this opportunity of everybody sitting at home. And now that we're looking at, mass mandates dropping, us getting back to normal life, this media mix hasn't really changed much from the pandemic. What has changed is display is 70% of the media buy. Video and connected television is 30% of the media buy. So if your media mix for your franchisees, your national to local program doesn't look something like this, or in a lot of cases even more extreme than this, then you should probably think about reinvesting some of those ad dollars to reach those folks in connected TV, because the opportunity to build that attribution is there. That large screen TV is still a digital device, and it's still giving those indicators, not only the audience that you're reaching, but also what action they're taking afterwards, online or in the physical world. So some thoughts leaving pre and post is that your CTV budgets, they need to be a part of your buy. If you're looking programmatically, you need to make sure that that is part of your buy and it's not separated. Along with video, you can't leave your video assets just for your television team and your creative TV team. It needs to be spread across the programmatic buys on regular video and connected television. Your national traffic benchmarks, national flight dates, budgets, those are a thing of the past. If you aren't already doing it, or you're thinking regionally in the Southeast or Southwest, that just isn't the way that we're seeing budgets come in any longer. People are focusing on those cities and they're responding to them because they can actually optimize and see incremental lift, whether that's online or offline, at a city or zip code level by planning in that same fashion. So with that, I want to take you into a case study of ours. So I think this represents the thinking and the conversations I've had with a lot of different QSRs and a lot of different franchise organizations, in that when COVID hit, we were all a little freaked out. Everything, anything was on the wall, put it on the wall. Let's think about what we're going to do. What we did in the past isn't going to work. Foot traffic's not coming back. So in this case, we had a very large national sandwich franchise come out and say, hey, what do we want to do? And their agency we work with said, well, why don't we execute the similar tactics, except let's reach them on the connected TV. Let's just go for it. Let's push that budget. Let's double down on our budgets, actually increase those budgets, which was something that we've been preaching for a long time. But let's increase those budgets on something that even has a higher CPM than display. So we did it. And what we saw was that utilizing geofencing, so we built geofences around the same neighborhoods and competitor stores. So the neighborhoods being the areas where they serviced or where they might have done their traditional direct mail drops, as well as competitor stores, knowing that competitor stores also have pickup, right? People are driving up. We had a lot of pickup opportunities around the nation who just didn't want to use DoorDash or wanted to keep it in-house. In addition to that, we used search retargeting. So we went after all their competitors or any keywords, fast food, home delivery, even DoorDash, and any other terms that are related to people actually getting deliveries or trying to eat at home, because these are sandwiches, right? Everybody likes a sandwich, and they really cater to almost any American. And so really big opportunity, but the way that we tracked those orders, they had an online ordering function. We were able to track actual return on ad spend or actual cart value. How many sandwiches did they get? The soda? In some cases, did they order the beer? Because beers were now being allowed to be picked up and delivered. And then offline conversions, we did do a physical geofencing and conversion zones because we were able to identify a small area in their parking lot where we knew that people were pulling up. And so if we saw that people were picking up the orders, then, or they were making phone calls and picking up the orders and they hadn't fully converted online, then we were able to bring those folks into the fold. Now, all that's great. And we're able to identify those people. We're able to, most importantly, optimize towards those actions that we want to see more of on our side. But at the end of the day, really, it's about sales. Okay. And this program worked. It was run in a test market, rolled out nationwide. Year over year, beat comps by double digits in almost all markets. Now we're going post-pandemic, we're still beating comps by double digits. It's been a massive success. And that success goes exactly to the dispersion of their media mix. What was once a 50-50 display video mix across the board with almost no connected television is now mid-pandemic a big commitment to CTV to make sure it works, to a full just dive in the deep end of connected TV and video with their media buys and go all out, with display still being a very small amount of their media buy to try and capture those last bit of people who may have not adopted video or connected TV. So this was a huge win. I think it just pulls out what folks are doing. And I think that if you haven't looked at or haven't made a big commitment, a small commitment of a few percent in connected television is dipping your toe in the water, where if you make a real commitment and you are analyzing it, as this one saw, we've seen massive success across the QSR space. My name's Casey Squier. If you have any questions, thoughts, feedback, or would like some of these numbers, please email me or ask me questions in the chat function.
Yeah, that's great.